Hello, I am Bishop Jeff Haines, Auxiliary Bishop of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee, and welcome to our Sunday reflection. A few years back, I was at a wedding reception, and I was kind of standing off to the side drinking my Diet Mountain Dew, and this nice young man came up to me, and he kind of looked at me a little bit, and he said, "Are you a priest?" Which kind of surprised me because I was wearing my black suit and my collar, and I said, "Well, yes, I am, or at least I try to be." And he kind of smiled a little bit, and he said, "Well, you know, I used to be a Catholic." And I says, "Oh, you're not anymore?" He says, No. I says, "Can I ask why?" And he says, "Well, I'm really not a believer anymore." And I said, "Oh, really? Why is that?" And he says, "Well, I was struggling with that. Try as much as I can. I couldn't understand God. I just boggled my mind, and I just said, I can't be a believer anymore. I can't believe in God. It's too complicated." And then I looked at him and I said, "Well, you know what's kind of interesting about that?" And I said, "It's your reason for not believing in God is the reason that I do." And he goes, "What do you mean?" And I says, "Well, because God is transcendent and almighty and greater than all of us, if I could figure him out with my meager mind, then it wouldn't be God that I'm believing in." I said, "It's precisely because he's greater than my mind that I believe in him." Our celebration today, this Sunday, is a feast day. It's called the Feast of the Holy Trinity. And it's kind of unusual amongst our many feast days. Most of our feast days are based on events in salvation history, like the birth of Christ as the Nativity or the resurrection of Christ on Easter Sunday. But this is a whole feast day dedicated to the concept of God. And it's a challenging feast day, isn't it, when you think about it, trying to comprehend what the Trinity is all about. That we have this strict monotheism, that there's only one God, and yet we have three persons in that God. In fact, I knew a priest who was so fearful of the Trinity Sunday and how to speak about the Trinity in his homily, he took off every Trinity Sunday for his vacation so he wouldn't have to preach on the Trinity, because it's complicated, isn't it? It kind of boggles the mind. When I try to talk to people about the Trinity, I say, well, maybe we should take a different tact. Rather than trying to just think about God as a concept and ponder what that whole idea of God is about, maybe what we really need to invest in is entering more deeply into our relationship with God. Maybe the more we enter into that personal bond, that relationship with God, the more we'll come to understand him. You know, they often say that the heart can know things that the mind doesn't. And I think our readings for this Sunday give us that insight into that heart of God. That first reading from Exodus 34 is the experience of Moses on Mount Sinai. And God passes by him, and he hears God saying this, the Lord, a merciful and gracious God, slow to anger and rich in kindness and fidelity." It's all about mercy. And so maybe what we need to do is to try to be more merciful, more compassionate. And the more we enter into those notions, the more we'll get a sense of what God might be like. And then there's our second reading from the second letter to the Corinthians. And St. Paul, of course, is trying to get the Corinthians to get along. They kind of bickered quite a bit. And here's what he tells them. He says, "Live in peace, and the God of love and peace will be with you." It's all about peace. Maybe that's our invitation. The more we live in peace and try to be peacemakers and peaceful people, the more we'll get a sense of what God is like. And then there's our gospel reading, the famous passage from John 3:16, where we all know that one. It says, "God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that everyone who believes in him might not perish but might have eternal life." To live in God's love, live in that love, and we'll maybe get a greater sense of who God is. It's something for us to think about on this Trinity Sunday, and when we look at the world around us, we certainly need those qualities, don't we? We need mercy, we need compassion, we need peace, we need love. That's what our world needs right now for healing. I'd like you to return next Sunday for our next Sunday reflection, and in the meantime, be safe, stay healthy, and God bless you.